Let's get things rolling here. Got my sketchbook set up. And we're just going to concentrate on, not necessarily fundamentals, but we're going to do like the basic steps that I do for, when I sketch my pinup girls, or when I'm just trying out ideas. So as you can see right here, I got this figure already drawn and inked in. That's just something I sketched out really quick a few days ago. And maybe we'll work on her a little bit more. But for this one, we'll be doing this face and just kind of blocking things in. As you can see, I'm using like guidelines here. So we're off to our sketching session for the evening. Hope everybody's doing good today. If you ain't, well then I hope things get better. Pull out your sketch pad and your pencil, and maybe you'll mellow out after a few pencil strokes. Okay, so I got this girl here that's somewhat has like a rockabilly hairstyle. This one I just kind of started sketching just out of my mind, and then it ended up kind of having that rockabilly hairstyle. So we'll kind of go along those lines with this girl here. And let me step back for a little bit to check my monitor. I just want to make sure that everything's in view. So looks like everything's kind of more to the right. So let me know if you are having any trouble with the viewing angle. So anyways, I got this laid in here like this, and it's supposed to be rockabilly, but I'm looking at some reference off to the side, and I think this hair might be a little bit too out there. So let us kind of tone things down. I always like to keep my kneaded eraser handy here. And you can use any kind of eraser that you like, but this is my favorite type of eraser just because I can, squeeze it and form whatever shape I need to. Okay, so let's redo that hair. And actually this, yeah, I like how that, just by doing that little adjustment there, I think it makes it look better. So let's go ahead and sketch in these directional lines where it shows how the hair is flowing. And you don't have to draw every single strand, of course. I'm just drawing a few here to indicate like the clumps of hair. Okay. That seems pretty good right there. And then let's go ahead and throw another earring on her so it doesn't look like she's, you know, missing something here. And I'll throw a little dot there. Make it look like she's got some dice earrings. Just indicating it, you don't have to be super precise. And then on this one, we're gonna actually ink it, so you probably don't want to get too dark with your line work, you know, just dark enough so that you can see where you're going. But yeah, don't press too hard on your pencil unless you want to. You know, you're gonna leave it as a pencil sketch. Okay, so for the eyelashes, I like to make them pretty thick, and especially this retro type style. You know, she's gonna have thick eyelashes like this. And then go to the eyebrows and, you know, make some whatever adjustments you need to. Main thing is to just stay loose when you're doing your pencil work. And even when you're inking, you don't have to get like super technical. You know, not for sketches like this. You know, the idea is just to kind of remain loose and get your ideas down. And then so for this one, let's go ahead and use our Copic multiliner, size 0.3, just to start things off. And one thing about drawing these faces that are facing straight forward like this, you know, front ways. Normally I like to do my faces, you know, kind of like how this is, like 3/4 view. I think it makes, you know, a little bit more interesting your picture. But when you do faces straight on like this, try to, you know, make something like vary in style or dimension. Like for instance, the hair is kind of a little different here, and then her eyes are pointing, you know, this way. Trying to make everything too symmetrical, because you're gonna get that kind of static look to it. You know, maybe she's wearing a collar or something, make the collar stick out a little bit more on one side. You know, just things like that to break up all that sameness. And I'm just mostly using quick choppy strokes when I'm inking. Now, if this was a commission piece or like a portfolio piece or something I'm gonna put on my online store, I'll be a lot more careful with the line work and take my time more. But like I was saying before, this is just to sketch out ideas that maybe later on you'll want to turn into a more finished piece or a more refined drawing. So, and if you make some mistakes, don't even worry about it. Don't I mean, try to correct them if you can, but if it's like a mistake you make that's really screwed up, then just leave it. I mean, that's what a sketchbook is for. So don't have to have masterpiece works of art on every single sketch. Okay. Move this over here. So on these, like I was, well, like I said earlier, these circles here are not perfect circles. They're just more like suggested circles or suggested shapes. And even when I'm inking them, I'm just doing really loose strokes here. You're just indicating the shape. You're not drawing a perfect circle here. I mean, if you want to break out your like guide tools, your stencils and all that, that's cool. It just depends on what level of finish you're trying to achieve. Here I'm just going around the basic shape of the hair and maybe even adding a couple of extra strokes here where we didn't with the pencil. Sometimes when you're inking, you'll tend to improvise a little bit and think something else might look better than the original pencil sketch you did. So if you think it'll make the picture better, then heck yeah, go for it. So and then I'm going to go over it with a thicker size pen. Just to fatten up the outlines or the line work. Okay. Alright, so let's get to the face. You can see I'm not going like 100% over that pencil. I'm just leaving little areas there. I'll fill them in, but not completely. Just because eyebrows mostly, they're not always perfect. Sometimes they'll have tiny little gaps there that you can still see through. So you don't want to make it look sloppy or anything like that, but you know, don't absolutely fill it out like 100%. So going over these thick eyelashes here. You have to forgive me if I'm moving the paper more this way because the camera is centered right there, so I'm tending to kind of shift the paper over, so I'll try to keep it centered on screen for you. And just filling these in. Usually when I'm doing sketches like this, I'll end up leaving most of the pencil strokes intact. I won't go back and erase them unless I'm gonna go over it with a marker or something. But I kind of like that look of the pencil underneath. It's got more of a raw look to it, you know. And then on these eyes, you don't have to like make them super perfect, like go all the way around like this and draw the iris and the entire pupil. You can just suggest it. And then leave a little light there for the highlight. Put in the nose. And then the lips, we already did the basic outline. So we'll just kind of touch it up like that. That's one of the reasons I start off with the thinner weight of the inking pen. Though you can keep certain areas a little more softer, I guess. Okay. Okay, so now we're getting that look that we're trying to get, you know, that girly look. And then, like I said, we're gonna go back over it with the fatter multi-liner and thicken up some of these strokes. So now we'll just start easing in these lines on the hair. And the hair is kind of twisting around this way, so when it gets to this point, it's going to go back around like this. we start in this other section. Now this section right there, that's where all the hair is kind of gathering. So we can go ahead and, you know, make that a little bit darker because it's moving away from the light. So, you know, it's going to have that darker area right there. Okay. Excuse me, I have my phone and my iPad are at full volume right now, so and then we'll just go around to this side. Okay, we got our basic line work there. So let's go to our thicker pen size. This is a 0.5. So let us start inking away here. And we're you know, fattening up some areas of the line work, but we're also leaving some thin. That way it gets a nice variation in the line width. So. And then wherever you know, the clumps of hair end is generally where you're going to want to put your thicker lines. Same here too, where there's we did those directional lines. You know, sometimes the hair is going to gather up a little bit thicker in some areas, so. And then it tapers down to a thinner line. And if you want to, you can add a couple of extra lines there if you think it needs it. Sometimes you might have a little bit of dead space there. Okay. This way. And you can actually already see where it's taking form, you know, the variation in line width compared to the rest of the face or the head. You can already see the difference here. All right. Don't forget about these. If we want to later on, we can always do some rendering with Copic markers. This is specifically for markers, this sketch pad. It's a render sketchbook, so it's made to accept marker ink. So we probably won't do any marker rendering today, but you know, at least we'll have a good couple of sketches ready. So you know, we want to break out the markers. Maybe for another live stream, we'll do some rendering, go over some techniques. Okay. And the earrings, you don't want to go too thick, but you do want to fatten up the line art a little bit, so just so it doesn't look separated from everything else. Same thing with this one. Alright, not bad. Not bad so far. It's almost looking a little bit like Scarlett Johansson. Just a little bit. And let's outline that chin just a little bit. You don't want to make it too fat here, because you got your whiter strokes on the, you know, cheekbones here, so we don't want to make it, you know, fat all the way around like that. So that's something to keep in mind. Plus, I think it gives her a little bit more of a feminine look when it's, the chin is a little bit on the thinner side there. You know, you don't want to give her that squarish jaw too much. And just go around her necklace like that. I'm not going over the whole entire circle here, but just enough to give it some dimension. Okay, it's good. There, I think that's pretty good right there. Nothing too fancy, but you know, that was kind of the plan. And like I say, I'm gonna just leave those pencil strokes in there. If I decide to do some rendering later on, can always grab my eraser and just erase everything out. Okay, so let's touch up this one a little bit. Just doesn't really need too much. I'm just gonna sketch in some of the seam lines here. So let's go around like this. And I'm not positive if these type of pants have a seam line there, but I would think they would. And then for this sketch, I actually used a different inking pen. I used this Micron. It's a sepia color. So be sure to get that. Use that one so we don't get some different colors on this one. And I'm kind of using the edge or the side of the pen tip just to give me a little bit more thinner line. A couple little wrinkles there, or folds. That should be good right there. It wasn't really necessary to add these, but I mean it helps break up the, you know, that big dead area that you had right there. So all right, so let us start another sketch here. Let's see what we can do. Should we keep that rockabilly theme going? Let's see if we can let's make another face, just to show you how I sketch in a face. So let's see if I can get some good angles here. I'll do it like this, so it'll be at a little bit of an angle. So this is like the basic starting point for my faces. It's not like a complete oval, but it's more like it's hard to say what kind of shape that would be, but it's pointy at the bottom here, where the chin is, and then it goes here to the jawline, and then it kind of curves around to maybe like a kind of an egg shape at the top here. And then from there I'll sketch in this guideline, and that's where the middle of the front of the face is going to be. So, and then I will sketch in maybe about halfway. So that's the guideline where the eyes are going to be. And then from there I'll just sketch in the nose. That's the first thing I do, is sketch in the nose. And then we'll start with the eyes, which I make a little bit bigger than what they would be in real life. So it's not truly like an almond shape. Maybe more of a like a skewed diamond look. Let's erase this little line so it doesn't confuse. And then I will start refining it there. I'll start curving it a little bit so it's not so pointy looking. And you can draw in the eyelid a little bit there. And then here is the eyelashes. This one tends to curve out a little bit on a 3/4 view. And then the lips come in. Center of nose is about right there, so okay. And then on this one, this side, I will draw the cheek. It goes outwards like that. And then I'll bring it in. And this eye socket area protrudes out a little bit like that. And then it goes back around. And we can actually fix that area right there. Draw a neckline there. And then the ear is gonna kind of go about right there. And then the top of the eye. So that's where the ear is gonna go. Actually, this forehead is going to go a little bit more forward like this. So hopefully you can see that pretty good on your screen there. Let's go ahead and take out some of these guidelines so that we don't get confused. And actually, if you start off lightly, you can leave them in. I drew them a little bit extra dark so that you could see what I was doing. Sometimes it's a little hard to see. So. Okay, so we got that part down. Now let's start refining things a bit. Looks like we're gonna have this little deal here. Not too familiar with the terminology. Probably should be, huh? Okay, now we can start sketching in the eyes. Okay. So let's give her some hair. Let's give her some that same rockabilly themed hair. She's got one of those styles that have that roll of hair like this. So. Go down like this. Here's probably gonna go a little bit higher right there. Actually, let's curve this up a little bit so it doesn't look so uniform. Okay. We're just indicating this for right now. We don't have to get too detailed about it. Let's give her some nice round earrings there. And then maybe she'll have like another little section of hair here. Not too much because, you know, she's got hair going down there. So. And then let's give her those wraparound bandanas that you see a lot when you see the rockabilly styles. Might be a little bit hard to see here because it's getting a little busy right there. That's cool right there. And then the hair isn't going in this direction, so actually let's forget about this bottom part there, because she's probably not going to have that long hair if she's got it wrapped around there and then wrapped there, so might be a little bit shorter. Okay. Alright, so now we can start adding a little bit of detail. We'll start with the eyes. Give her those retro styled eyelashes. And then on the eyes you can just indicate the area. Okay, we can actually start inking it now. We'll go back to our original sepia color that we did on this face. And for this one, we'll just go ahead and use that fat one. We'll use a 0.5 for the whole thing on this face. And staying real loose with this one, even more than we did for these other two. And we're just sketching out some ideas here, so don't have to worry about getting so precise and refined. Don't stray too far from your line, from your pencil sketch, but just keep it loose. Excuse me. Forgive the creaks you hear in the background that you might hear. It's my old office chair. I'm due for a new one pretty soon, so. It's the chair, it's not me. Alright. And I'm just following the line work that I did with the pencil, so. Loosely following it. Here's a bandana, just got it wrapped around. And actually we can bring this out a little bit further. So let's see, her hair is probably gonna go around like this and then like this. So sometimes when I'm inking over pencil sketch, I'll put a piece of paper here over where I did the pencil work, just so it doesn't smear. But we don't gotta worry about that too much here. Okay. Sometimes it's kind of fun using just a single pen for your line work, because you know it kind of forces you to stay loose and not overly refined. You can do some quick sketches that way. Okay. Make sure to fatten up these areas in the back too, so that it kind of matches the other thickness that you have on the rest of the picture. Okay. So I think we're good with this one. Okay, add probably a little bit of where the hair is going like this. Kind of like those thick bold strokes like that. I've actually been trying to work on making my line work a little bit thicker. So maybe in a future drawing I'll start making them, a little bit fatter, just like these are. Not as sloppy, of course, or loose, but you know. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Just wanted to show you my quick sketching techniques. We'll be sure to do another one. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you the next time.